This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin with breaking news. Dry conditions in the valley have fire crews working to extinguish a blaze near Harwood. Valley News Live's Aaron Walling joins us live now with the latest on that. Aaron?
Thanks, Andrea. We're here in Harwood where a bad structure fire broke out earlier today. Now, if you take a look back there, that is where the structure started the fire. Now, according to West Fargo Fire Chief Stephen Barron, the homeowner used his lawnmower and had put it back into the workshop, and there may have been a small leak of oil that got onto the exhaust, causing the fire to break out. Now, there have been about 5 different departments here fighting this fire, including you had Mapleton, West Fargo, Castleton, and Harwood. Also, the crews have been battling that fire, also cutting out sides of the building, also taking out insulation, just trying to get more access, get more water into the area. Also, according to Stephen Barron, there was no injuries here at this fire. They're still continuing to battle it out, and there was more smoke earlier, but currently right now there's not that much smoke. Live in Harwood, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Officials say part of Highway 2 is closed because of a large grass fire. Highway 2 is closed from 140th Avenue Southwest, about 12 miles east of Crookston, to Highway 32. Officials are asking you to avoid the area as they work to put out a fire there. Dry, windy conditions mean the fire danger is high. Beautiful day out there. Hope you don't mind the wind because it looks like it's sticking around for a while. Let's head over to Summer to get the latest on this evening. Summer?
Warm and windy, the two perfect words to describe how things have been so far today and will continue to be through the evening. We have that red flag warning, or the fire weather warning, remaining in effect until 1 o'clock in the morning, and a wind advisory for the light brown shaded counties, including the heart of the valley and portions of western Minnesota. And then a high wind warning remains in effect for much of North Dakota, including the Devil's Lake Basin down through the James River Valley. That will continue until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Here's a look at some peak wind gusts for today. Fargo, 49 miles per hour, 51 miles per hour in Grand Forks. Cooperstown earlier today had a gust to 58 miles per hour, but it did help to warm us up. 77 degrees was our high temperature today in Fargo, Fergus Falls, and Elbow Lake. 79 down in Wheaton. But Andrea, coming up, I'll be talking about a cold front that is really going to do some damage on our temperatures as we head into our Tuesday.
All right, thanks, Summer. Police are looking for 2 more people in connection with a shooting that left a 12-year-old injured in West Fargo. Those 2 people are 20-year-old Jamond Walker of Glendon and 21-year-old Leotis McGee Jr. of Fargo. Walker is also charged with conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, and McGee has been charged with aggravated assault and reckless endangerment. West Fargo police announced late last week that they already arrested Deontay Taylor and Garrett Morin in the case. Both have been charged with conspiracy to commit aggravated assault. Police say just before 9 p.m. that night, they responded to the 1500 block of 11th Avenue East for a report of a shooting. Officers located 5 shell casings, and court documents say the victim's home had 7 bullet holes. Documents say the shooting was deemed a drive-by and may have been in retaliation from an earlier incident. Charges have been changed for a teenager accused of causing a crash that killed his friend in February. 21-year-old Isaiah Johnson was thrown from the car that 19-year-old Elijah Vistens was driving and died from his injuries. Vistens was originally charged with vehicular homicide, failure to report a death, and 2 underage alcohol charges. That vehicular homicide charge has been changed to manslaughter. The assistant Cass County State's attorney told us that the charge was changed due to new evidence coming to light, but couldn't comment further. A 49-year-old woman accused of brutally beating a man with a hammer has now been charged. Police responded to 2339 17th Street South around 3:30 the afternoon of March 25th. They found a 61-year-old man had been hit several times with a hammer to the point where it fractured his skull. Doctors at All True Hospital found he may have a brain injury. Alana Rani Sadi is charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, and battery. Documents say Rani Sadi didn't know the victim and didn't have permission to enter his home. An investigation is underway after a hit and run in Moorhead that shut down a stretch of busy road this morning. It happened at the intersection of 8th Street and 24th Avenue South just before 8 a.m. One lane of traffic on 8th Street was blocked and police had to get a damaged car towed from the scene. Everything is now back open and police say no one was seriously hurt. In Minneapolis today, the start of what's expected to be a tense and emotional murder trial. Former police officer Derek Chauvin is accused of killing George Floyd after cell phone video from the scene showed him with his knee across Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes after he was handcuffed and forced to the ground. Jay Gray was there after Floyd's death last summer and is now outside the courthouse with details.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that
as the trial begins, the core of the prosecution's case is immediately clear. Out of respect for the family, we aren't showing the cell phone video that captured the final minutes of George Floyd's life. But the state wants to make sure jurors do see those images, opening with the video and including pictures of the incident on a timeline displayed in the courtroom.
Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed this badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
The defense countering during its open, telling the jury Chauvin did exactly what he was trained to do by Minneapolis police and saying that other factors, including drugs and a heart condition, caused his death.
The use of force is not attractive, but it is a necessary component of policing.
the one you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Thank you.
The first witness called by prosecutors, a 911 dispatcher who watched video from a street surveillance camera while working the call.
It was a gut instinct of, in the incident, something's not going right.
An instinct that pushed her to make this call to a supervisor.
I don't know if they had used force or not. They got something out of the back of the squad, and all of them sat on this man.
The dispatcher telling the jury it was the first time she'd ever made that type of call.
Attorneys say there are about 400 potential witnesses in this case. Of course, they won't all take the stand. The trial is expected to last 3 to 4 weeks. The North Dakota Department of Health has announced that the general population can get their vaccinations today. Many hospitals and clinics are sharing their vaccine availability. Fargo Cass Public Health, Essentia Health, Sanford Health, and many facilities in Grand Forks are opening up their availabilities to anyone age 16 and older. Fargo Cass Public Health will administer 5,500 doses this week. Sanford Health will provide their vaccine availability on Wednesday. Grand Forks plans to provide 605 first doses on April 7th. You can head to Valley News Live to see how you can set up an appointment. President Biden today is announcing a new timetable when the vast majority of Americans will be eligible for a vaccine amid rising cases and warnings of the potential for another major surge. NBC's Alice Barr reports from Washington.
Today, promise and peril in the war against COVID-19. President Biden announcing 90% of adults will be eligible for a vaccine by April 19th, and that more vaccine centers are opening.
90% of all Americans will be living within 5 miles of a place they can get a shot.
That after a stark warning from the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
Cases are steadily rising, with many states easing restrictions and travel increasing. Health officials pleading with Americans to help avoid another surge.
I'm asking you to just hold on a little longer.
The U.S. setting a record pace of vaccinations over the weekend. More than 50 million Americans are now fully vaccinated. A new real-world study finds the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are 90% effective at preventing infection among frontline workers. The European Union now considering a vaccine passport system for travel around the continent. The White House saying anything similar in the U.S. would be left to the private sector.
There will be no centralized universal federal vaccinations database and no federal mandate requiring everyone to obtain a single vaccination credential.
The Biden administration pledging to do more to get shots in arms in underserved communities in the race against the virus, an urgent push to leave no one behind.
Health officials say with millions of people still suffering from the pandemic's economic effects, the CDC has announced the extended moratorium on evictions through the end of June, and we'll have more on that later in our newscast. A new study finds that the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are highly effective at preventing COVID infection among frontline workers. CDC researchers tracked nearly 4,000 healthcare workers and first responders who were tested weekly for coronavirus. They found their risk of infection was reduced by 90% 2 weeks after getting their second dose of the vaccine. The risk was decreased by 80% 2 weeks after a first dose. Experts say it takes 2 weeks following vaccination to produce antibodies that protect against infection. Students from low-income families in North Dakota can take advantage of a new nutrition program. The Pandemic Electronic Benefits Transfer Program provides EBT cards to families with students eligible for free and reduced lunch. Families will receive benefits for days that students are distance learning at home rather than being in the school building. $6.82 per child per day. The Department of Public Instruction estimates over 31,000 students will qualify for the benefit. Eligible families don't need to apply. They'll get a letter notifying them about the program. To stay on top of the latest COVID vaccine-related information, you can use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's right on the home page of our website, or you can open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen. Then tap the link that pops up. The number of children in Border Patrol custody has hit a new high. Nearly 5,500 migrant children are in the custody of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which provided this video. That's more than 200 above the previous record set about 10 days ago. Many of the children are unaccompanied and are being held in centers like these in Texas. More than 3,700 have been in custody beyond the legal limit of 72 hours, and 730 have been in custody more than 10 days. Clay County residents have a new place to go to get building permits, marriage certificates, or pay their property taxes. The county's new government center opens in Moorhead today at 3510 12th Avenue South. The new offices will house the assessor, recorder, auditor, treasurer, planning and zoning, GIS, human resources, and central administrative offices. They used to be housed in the Clay County Courthouse complex. The new government offices are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The Bison are back home at the Fargo Dome this weekend, ready to take on South Dakota State. You can join us Saturday at 1:30 p.m. for the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football pregame show. We'll take you right up to the 2:30 p.m. kickoff between the Bison and the Jackrabbits. It's right here on the KVLY and KFYR Bison Football Network. Still to come on Valley News Live at 5, just 2 days before it was set to expire, the Biden administration makes a move to help those who are behind on their rent.
And the wind across the valley has lofted some dust into the atmosphere, so it's looking a little bit hazy out there. And even after a very mild day, temperatures will be falling rapidly. I'll detail your hour-by-hour forecast along with the cold front right after the break.